Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Kaylee and these are my books. So today's video is a mid-month wrap-up. So this is where I'm going to talk about the books that I read in the first half of September. Now, I did a lot of reading vlogs in the first half of September. I did a water horror reading vlog, a pirate romance reading vlog, a thriller reading vlog, and a dark romance reading vlog. That means a lot of the books that I read in the first 2 weeks of September were already included in videos on my channel. Therefore, I'm going to start this video with the books that weren't in my reading vlogs and therefore the books that you haven't heard me talk about. And then I will end the video with just a very quick recap of the books that I read in those reading vlogs and the ratings that I gave them. But if you want more in-depth reviews on the books that are already featured in reading vlogs, you will have to go check out those videos. Now, I still have 11 books to talk about that weren't featured in reading vlogs. I read a lot of books in the first half of September. A lot of these books were audiobooks because I also got that Disney Dreamlight Valley game and I'm obsessed with it. I've been playing it in all of my free time and I've been listening to audiobooks while I play the game. So of the 11 books that I haven't talked about in reading vlogs, there were 2 books that I did not rate, the first of which was Carmilla. This is a classic vampire novella story. And I read this for a class that I teach, therefore I'm not gonna rate it, but I love Carmilla. I think it's one of the best classic works of literature out there. It's so much fun. It features lesbian vampires and it's short. So if you're intimidated by classics, Carmilla is a fantastic story to read. Highly recommend, but it is in my no rating section. And then the next book that I didn't give a rating because I DNF'd it at 50%. I do rate DNFs if I got most of the way through the book, but because I only got 50%, I didn't rate this one, but it was Good Girl Complex. I DNF'd Good Girl Complex at 50% because I really disliked both the main girl and the main guy. Good Girl Complex is a romance about a rich girl who has a really crappy boyfriend and she meets this local towny guy who is not rich. He has to work really hard for what he has. And the rich girl's boyfriend basically gets him fired in the first couple pages of this book. So the local guy kind of decides that he is going to steal the rich guy's steal the rich guy's girlfriend. And because the girlfriend is in town for college. Basically, it is about the romance between the rich girl and the local guy. I thought they were both kind of terrible people. This involves cheating, but it's cheating on a bad person, so I guess it's fine. I don't know. I'm not one of those people that cheating is like my hard no. Like, it's fine if it happens in romance books. I don't love it, but sometimes it has to happen in romance books. But in this book, it just kind of bothered me. And again, the characters just all kind of sucked. I didn't like any of them. And I didn't really like the message that this book was giving. And this is purely personal. Okay, I know this is a hot take. I know that this is not something that most of you will agree with me about, but I don't like the trait of ambition. Like, I hate when people are talking about how they're a good person because they're ambitious. Like, for me, being ambitious is not associated with good morals or bad morals. In fact, I think being ambitious can lead to bad moral decisions more often than not. And in this book, it was very much raising up the trait of ambition, and it could have broken it down in the last 50%. This was a DNF, okay? This was a DNF. Let's just get that clear. But in the first 50%, it was talking a lot about ambition, and I wasn't into it. And again, I know a lot of you won't agree with me on that. That's fine. This is my personal take on books, and personally, ambitious people freak me out. All right, so because I DNF'd that book, I think it would have ended up being a 1 or a 2 star, but because I DNF'd it, I don't have any 1 or 2 star books. We're going straight into 3 stars. And I have 2 3-star books, the first of which is The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. I absolutely loved this book in the first half, and then in the second half it lost me. So The Twisted Ones is about this woman who has to go clear out her grandma, great aunt, some older relative, I forget who, but some older relative has died. I think it's her grandma. I'm almost certain it's her grandma. She has to go clear out her house, and she is finding lots of weird stuff when she's clearing out this house. And there's these weird rock figures, the twisted ones. She has a fantastic and lovable dog that I was very worried for throughout the entirety of this book. And I loved the first half. The first half of this book was amazing. I thought it was going to be a 4 or a 5 star. And then it completely lost me in the second half. I had no clue what was going on. I feel like not enough was explained for me. I needed more explanation in this book. And typically in horror, I don't usually need explanation, but for the twisted ones, I feel like it went too far into fantasy, and in fantasy I need explanations. Like, I need a hard system, meaning I need rules to the system. I need to understand exactly how everything is working in the magic. And in this book, I had no clue how anything was working, and so it just kind of lost me because I didn't understand what was going on. Therefore, I felt too distant from the story, and I didn't end up caring what was happening in the second half of the story. So I gave this 3 stars, but really it felt like 4 or 5 stars for the first 50% and then 1 or 2 star for the last 50%. So 3 stars isn't like a true representation of my overall thoughts. I just kind of averaged the 2 parts together. The next 3-star book I read was It Ain't Me Babe by Tilly Cole. And this is my very first motorcycle club romance. So this is a romance between a motorcycle club leader and a woman who escapes from a cult. And the motorcycle club leader is mute also. And it's just about these 2 people overcoming past trauma together and falling in love. Now, I really enjoyed the plot of this book. I thought the plot was exciting. I loved the cult stuff. I loved the twist. I didn't see the twist coming. There was some cool action in here. I liked the setting. The reason why this got 3 stars is I absolutely hated the language that was being used, the writing itself. And I think this might be a genre trope of motorcycle club romance. So I'm not necessarily faulting this individual book. I think I might just not like motorcycle club romance. I need to try a couple to test my theory. But basically, the motorcycle club is referring to women by only derogatory names. And like, that's fine every once in a while, but it got so repetitive because every single time a woman was mentioned, it was the bitch over there, the bitch over here, the bitch down there. Like the word bitch, if you took a shot every time they used that word in this book, you would be dead. You would be dead in the first 15 pages. So I hated that part of the book. I thought it was really, really cringy, a bit offensive, and just repetitive. So repetitive. And I really hated that part of the book. And therefore, I can't give this more than 3 stars, even though the plot itself was so good. Because I did finish this, and I just kind of made my brain skip over every single time the word bitch or slut was mentioned in this story. And the plot itself was really good. Like, the plot itself was sweet and nice and lovely, and the action was exciting, like I said, but the language that was used, the writing itself, I did not like. But again, I think this might just be an aspect of motorcycle club romance, and if so, it is not for me. I'm gonna try one other motorcycle club romance before I write off that subgenre. But I think, let me know down in the comments if you've read a bunch of motorcycle club romance. If that's a thing that happens in all of these books, maybe I won't give it a try. And the next book is a 3.5 star book, so we're moving on from our 3 stars into 3.5, and it is Bully by Penelope Douglas. This is a bully high school romance, and the male has been bullying the girl in this story all throughout their high school experience. They used to be friends, something happened, she doesn't know why he suddenly started to hate her, and they get bullied a bunch, but now they're in their senior year, I think. And honestly, I can't remember if they're in their senior year, but they're much older. The bullying has been going on for a while, and basically she decides, screw it, I'm not gonna take this anymore, and she starts to fight back, and they eventually fall in love. Obviously, it's a romance. I was pretty surprised how much I liked this book. I thought the bullying was actually quite fun, because in this story, a lot of it is quite two-sided. So it's not just one person picking on the other person, it's a back and forth, and I really loved the banter of the back and forth bullying situations. I hesitate to say bullying, it was almost more like pranks, like mean pranks. So it is on the edge of bullying, but it's just, I guess I thought that it would be darker because this is my first bully romance, and I thought more lines would be crossed than they were, and I was pleasantly surprised that it was a bit more soft than I thought. Now, I'm saying based off of expectations, this is not a soft romance, okay? Overall, this is not a soft romance. It's just my expectations were that these people would be absolutely terrible and like the worst people imaginable, and they weren't that. They have some reasons for behind acting the way that they were. And I ended up enjoying the story. I mean, I got a 3.5. The reason why I didn't get higher is I wish that there was a little bit more groveling involved once, you know, the bullying ended and the love began. I wish the apologies were a bit more extravagant, you know, but it's fine. I did enjoy this story. This is my second Penelope Douglas. The first one I read was Credence, and this second one I read is Bully. So I'm also curious what other Penelope Douglas I should try, because I know that author has a giant backlist, so let me know down in the comments what other ones I should check out. Now moving on to 4 stars, I read Rewind by Catherine Ryan Howard. This is a thriller about a influencer who goes missing, and there's a bunch of different perspectives. It's got some stalker vibes, it's got some Bates Motel vibes, it has a detective point of view, a more domestic point of view, and we get point of views from bad people too, so there are unreliable narrators in here as well. I really enjoyed this story. The reason why I'm giving it 4 stars instead of 5 is I was a little bit lost at the beginning, but then it gripped me. But I listened to this on audio, and the first like 2 to 3 hours of it, I was skeptical. I wasn't sure if I was going to like this or not. And then I ended up really, really liking it. But because I wasn't super enjoying it in the beginning, I can't give this higher than 4 stars. If it had started with the same energy that the middle and end had, then this could have been a 5-star book, because I loved the Bates Motel comparisons and the Bates Motel vibes that it gave us. The next 4-star I read is Written in the Stars. This is a rom-com romance, and it was so delightful. This is a sapphic romance. I really enjoyed it. I thought the characters were so fun. They were so cute. It involves fake dating, which is like one of my favorite tropes ever. It's fun every single time. There is a lot of good family moments where the lover stands up to their partner's family and kind of puts them down for putting down their partner, and I love those moments. So it had a lot of stuff that I really adored in this book. The reason why I didn't get 5 stars is I felt a bit emotionally distant from the relationship itself. This book was very, very fun. At the end of the day, if the couple didn't get together at the end, I would have been okay with it. So it's fun, but I didn't like super care about the 2 characters that were in it, if that makes sense. The next 4-star book is Carrie Soto is Back. This is the new Taylor Jenkins Reid book, and this is my least favorite from her that I've read. It's got 4 stars, so don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed it. But Malibu Rising, Daisy Jones, and Evelyn Hugo all got 5 stars for me, so this is now my lowest rated book from her. And I think it's just because my favorite thing about Taylor Jenkins Reid books are the character dynamics and the character relationships. And this book is so hyper focused on Carrie Soto that there isn't a big cast of characters beyond Carrie Soto. And therefore, while I absolutely loved the character relationships that Carrie Soto had in this story, there simply weren't enough for me to give it a full 5 stars. It's about Carrie Soto, who is a tennis legend coming back into the tennis scene after she has retired and trying to defend her title for winning the most amount of tennis games. Oh god, I read a whole book about tennis and I'm forgetting what it's called, but basically she has the title for, is it Grand Slams? She has some sort of big title that she's won the most of, and there's a new person that's trying to go after her title. So Carrie Soto comes back into the tennis scene to try to defend the title. Carrie Soto is very unlikable in the best way possible. You do grow to like her in this book, but she is a hard character to like. She's very complex. I absolutely love Taylor Jenkins Reid character work, and that's why, like I said, this book got 4 stars, because I just wanted more characters. I wanted to experience more character work, where this book didn't have as many characters and it was focused quite a bit on the tennis plot itself. And so at the end of the day, this is a high 4-star read instead of the full 5-star read. But I did really enjoy this book, and even if you don't like tennis, because I know absolutely nothing about tennis, I hate sports just in general, I'm a hater. And so for me to give this book a high 4 stars means that it doesn't matter your opinion about tennis, you should still try this book. The next 4-star book I have is The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. This book is also another kind of sad 4-star book because the first 2 books in this series, this is the 3rd book in the Poppy War series, got full 5 stars. The Poppy War is one of my favorite books of all time. So I'm a little sad that the last book got 4 stars for me, but again, this is a high 4-star read, so overall I really enjoyed this. I can't really tell you the premise of this because it's the 3rd and final book in the Poppy War trilogy, but the reason why this book got 4 stars instead of a full 5 stars is simply because there were moments that I was bored because there was a lot of travel in this book, and I don't tend to love travel in fantasies or really in any book. Like, I just want them to get to their destination. It's okay if we skip that time. This book did not skip that time. There's just a lot of walking in it. But overall, R.F. Kuang, the end to this trilogy is perfect in my opinion, a perfect end, and what needed to happen happened. The character work in this book is so good. The magic system is amazing. The world building is incredible. I absolutely love this trilogy, and the last book is just my least favorite simply because of what happens kind of like in the middle, you know, but the end to the whole trilogy, so this part of the book, is so good. Next is a 4.5 star book, and that is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. So this is the last full-length novel I had to read in his Cosmere universe, and I really enjoyed it. This probably is my least favorite Cosmere book. I say that giving it 4.5 stars. I've given every other Cosmere book I've read 5 stars, so I love Brandon Sanderson. Absolutely adore his books. And so this book got 4.5 stars simply because I wanted to know a little bit more about the magic that happens in this book, and there are rules to it, but I feel like I just wanted more explanation of these rules. We do have a character that learns the magic in this book, and so I wish that we had spent more time with her learning the magic. That way I could learn the magic as well. But that's really my only complaint, and overall I absolutely loved this book. The character work, again, is so good, and this defied my expectations. Like, whatever you think this book is about, even after reading the synopsis, this book is going to surprise you. It's even difficult for me to give you a synopsis about this book. There are 2 different kingdoms, and they have a treaty, and one kingdom has to send their princess over to get married to the other kingdom's god king, and he is rumored to be this super aggressive, terrible guy. But these 2 kingdoms are on the verge of war. The kingdom that has to send their daughter over has to do it at the threat of war, pretty much. So they send a daughter over, and then things happen from there. The magic is really unique in here. It's breath magic, kind of like soul magic. There is a sentient sword in here that's a lot of fun. And overall, if you like Brandon Sanderson's other work, I think you will love this book too. And the last book that I didn't talk about in any of my vlogs, and the only 5-star book that I didn't talk about in any of my vlogs, is Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. Now, this is a bit of a cheat because I did talk about this a little bit in my dark romance vlog, but I didn't finish it in that vlog. So hello, I finished it. It was amazing, full 5 stars. Absolutely love the Twisted series. The first book is the only one that I'm so about, but books 2, 3, and 4 are full 5 stars. Now, books 2 and 3 I prefer over book 4, but book 4 was still a 5-star. It's just, of the 5 stars, book 4 is slightly lower than books 2 and 3. But book 4 is about Stella and Christian, and Stella is an influencer with a stalker, and Christian is this very morally gray billionaire in charge of a security company. They fake date to help Stella's Instagram following and to help him, Christian, at his work events. The stalker is a big part of this book, and it makes it get quite dark in the end. The end, like 10%, is very much like a thriller book. I loved the ending and I loved the tension. It was just, this book was full 5 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend this book, but I do think you should try to read the Twisted series in order if you can. Now, to super quickly speed run through the books I read for my vlogs, and as I'm looking at my list, I'm realizing that my water horror vlog I mentioned at the beginning of this video was actually last month in August, not September. So the first vlog I did in September was my pirate romance reading vlog, where I read Sea of Ruin, which was 5 stars, and Daughter of the Pirate King, which was 3 stars. Then I had a thriller reading vlog where I read The It Girl, which was 4 stars, His and Hers by Alice Feeney, which was 4 stars, and Perfect Stranger by Megan Miranda, which was 2 stars. And then I have my dark romance reading vlog where I read Hooked by Emily McIntyre, which was 4 stars, Hate by Tate James, which was 5 stars, and Barbarian Lover by Ruby Dixon, which was 4 stars. If you want more in-depth reviews of any of those vlog books, those vlogs will be linked in the description box below. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know what you've been reading so far in September down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you next time. Bye!